Okay, hi everyone. Today we're going to look at paraphrase. So what is paraphrase? Paraphrase is a verb which means to rewrite a phrase or sentence with the same meaning but using different words. Then people still are very confused about when to paraphrase and why we paraphrase. So why paraphrasing? When we have to write a research paper, we have to use other people's opinions or research to support our study. So first, we will provide support for claims or add credibility to your writing. And second point, we will refer to work that leads up to the work you are now doing. And third, we will give examples of several points of view on a subject. And four, we will call attention to a position that you wish to agree or disagree with. So with the paraphrasing skill, we can use other people's research to support our own research and make it more credible and more convincing. Then, how do we paraphrase? There are several steps that we have to follow. First step, we need to read the source carefully. This is the top one rule, then the most important rule, because we have to really make sure that we fully understand original source so that we can rewrite it in our own words. The second step, we have to find out the main points and the keywords of information so that we can reorganize these main points and put them together in a new way. And third, we have to cover the original text and rewrite it in your own words. This is very important. We have to cover original text because that oftentimes when we are still looking at the original text, we might be copying the original text or copy too many words from the original text. So that will turn out to be a plagiarism. And then if we copy them, we can have these words in mind, put them together in a new way so that we can rewrite it in our own words. And step 4, we will write the paraphrase in your own style. Means in our paper, we have our own certain writing style. We have to make the paraphrase consistent with our own style. Step 5, we will review the paraphrase and make sure the paraphrase is still true to the original text. And after that, this is also a very important point. We have to record the original source. That means we have to show the citation to show where we find the source. And now, let's talk about after we know how we write the paraphrase, we have to be careful about the following points. First point, we have to look at the meaning. First, keep the original meaning. And then we look at the words. Then we have to paraphrase, we have to change some words, right? Then in this place, we use synonyms. In Chinese, it's 同义字. But what about those specialized subjects? Then you can keep them because they're so specialized in your field. It's okay to keep them without changing any words. And C, we will use the quotation marks for original words because sometimes there will be some words or some phrases that's so difficult to change and substitute with other words. It's okay to retain original words, but we have to use the quotation marks to show the source. And D, we can change the grammar and sentence structure. And E, we can change the order in which the information or ideas are presented. And F, we can identify the attitude of the authors to their subject. This is also a very important point because we have to know the attitude, means the position of the author, to see if the author is certain, uncertain, critical, agree, or disagree, so that when we paraphrase, we can retain the original tone of the author. And from now on, I will use certain of the techniques to give you more examples and practice. The first example is an acceptable paraphrase. Like the first line, paraphrasing is a very important skill for most English tests. If we have to paraphrase it, we have to write it in a different structure with different words. Like the blue lines, for many tests of English, being skillful at paraphrasing is extremely important. Now you can see, very important, extremely important, very, extremely. That's the synonym, 用同义字. And next, you can see the sentence structure. You can see they're reversed, 相反的顺序. So in the first line, we have paraphrasing is a very important skill at the first part of the sentence. But in the second sentence, you can see we put that in the second half of the sentence. Being skillful at paraphrasing is extremely important. Then we reverse the sentence, 把资讯换成不同的顺序。Then you can also find different parts of speech, 不同的词性。For example, when we say English tests, here we use tests of English. And then skill, that's a noun, 名词. But the second line we use being skillful, that's the adjective, 形容词。But what about some unacceptable paraphrase that could be a plagiarized version? So let's look at the first passage. Students frequently overuse direct quotation in taking notes, and as a result, they overuse quotations in the final research paper. Now let's look at the plagiarized version. Students often use too many direct quotations when they take notes, resulting in too many of them in the final research paper. So what's the problem is that you can see the sentence structure is too similar. Even though this writer changes some word, they still look too similar. Like the first one, students, the same word, frequently overuse, often used to, that's just too similar because the sequence of words, or we can say word order, 字序, is too similar. And then the direct quotation in taking notes or when they take notes, very similar word order. As a result and resulting in too similar. And how about the blue parts? Probably only about 10% of your final manuscript should appear as directly quoted matter. And the second paraphrase version, you can see, plagiarized version, you can see probably only about 10% of the final copy should consist of directly quoted material. Again, the word order is too similar. So here I want to show you that paraphrase is not to just change some words. It is not enough. Using the synonym is not enough. 只用同义字是不够的. We have to also change the grammar and the sentence structure. And now let's look at the 3 main techniques to paraphrase. First, I want to talk about synonyms, 同义字, and second, changes the word order, 换字序, and third, change the grammar and sentence structure, 换文法或是句型结构. The first one, use synonyms. Let's compare the following 3 sentences. It's very easy to find that the first sentence, it can be difficult. And the second one, it is often a challenge. Okay, so far they look just fine. But how about the next part? To choose a suitable place to study English. And second sentence, to pick up a relevant school to learn English. Okay, so this looks like the grammar is okay, but the meaning might not be that perfect. Look at that choose and pick up is different. Choose means we select something among a group of other things, but pick up just look like it just randomly choose something, so it's not good enough. And how about suitable and relevant? Well, the meaning is different because suitable means 适合的 and relevant means 相关的. So using the wrong word is not good. How about the third sentence? Select and appropriate and learn to substitute, choose, suitable, and study. So this one, the synonym is correct. That is just the first technique. Now let's look at some more examples. On the left-hand side is the original version. The right-hand side is the paraphrase version. You can see typical type A people are the most susceptible to hard problems because they are strongly motivated to overcome obstacles and are driven to achieve and to meet goals. On the right-hand side, you can see classic type A people. So here, typical, classic, that's a synonym, 同义字, are the most susceptible, are most likely, again, synonym, 同义字. Heart problems, coronary problems, 冠状动脉的疾病. Okay, again, synonym, 同义字. Strongly motivated and intense desire, again, 同义字. And overcome obstacles and conquer barriers. Achieve and to meet goals, realize their goals. These are all synonyms, 都是同义字. Even though they might be of different word form, 可能是不同的词性, but they are still synonyms. Now let's look at the second technique, change the order. Now if we want to move a word to some other place, we might want to need to change some other words, add some other words, or cut some other words to ensure that the new sentence is grammatically correct. So here, 合乎文法的正确性 is still the priority if we want to paraphrase. Now let me show you by this example. If they have some help, most people can paraphrase effectively. Most people can paraphrase effectively if they have some help. Here you can see I reverse the different clauses. 两个不同的子句把它调换顺序 and you can see the connection. 连接词是 if. We still use the same connection, but we change the order of the clauses. So this is a good paraphrase because the sentence structure is not similar to the original one. Now let's look at the next example. I can still remember even though it was too long ago. Then you can paraphrase it by saying, even though it was so long ago, I can still remember. So here I changed the order of the clauses, but I have to remind you that this is just the first draft of the paraphrase because I still retain the same words. I just do this reverse of the clauses from this stage. Now let's look at another example for exercise. This one, you can look at the clause because on the left-hand side, because they're strongly motivated. In the original sentence, it's in the second half of the sentence, but in the paraphrase one, it's in the first half of the sentence. So here again, we have the reverse of the order of the clauses. 换了子句的顺序, then the structure would not be similar, and they, of course, will be a better paraphrase. Now let's look at the second method for change the order. Here, the example is adjective plus noun, 形容词加上名词，名词片语。Then we can change that into relative clause, 变成一个形容词子句或是形容词片语。The example is, writing essays can be a challenging task. So here, target word is challenging. We'll change that into which is challenging. So again, the structure is different and the word order is different, and also it's a good paraphrase. Now let's look at another example for exercise. Naturally, not all type A or type B people fit these profiles exactly. The paraphrase is, not all people who are identified as type A or type B people. Here, we use the relative clause, 用了形容词子句, but in this case, we can delete the who are, 可以省略 who are, then it could be not all people identify as type A or type B, and look more concise, 看起来比较简洁, and the paraphrase is also better. Now I want to introduce the last method, use different grammar. We know grammar means 文法, so anything that is related to grammar, we can use that principle. The first one is we change the words into different parts of speech, 就是换字的词性. The example here, the most effective way to build your English skill is to study regularly, okay? To build and of building in the paraphrase. Here, of building, we use 介系词 and 动名词. And here's to study, we say to do studying, study and studying. And regularly, that's the adverb 副词, then we write on a regular basis, 介系词片语. So here we change the parts of the speech, 换了字的词性. Now let me show you the next example. We can combine or break up sentences. 可以结合两个句子，或是把一个句子拆成两句。This example, we can see, we walk for a charity. We raise money for the Leukemia Foundation. So these two sentences, right, we can combine them by saying, the charity walk raised money for the Leukemia Foundation. So here, walk, originally, it's a verb, 原本是当动词 but in the paraphrase, we change it into a noun, 就是把这个动词变成名词化 and raise money is a verb, and we still retain this verb, raise money. And for the second one, we can see the information is our focus of the sentence. Now let me show you another two examples. First, crime was increasing rapidly and the police were becoming concerned. The paraphrase, we say, the rapid increase in crime was causing concern among the police. So here we use the noun form, 用了名词的形式, and then again we focus on the information and combine the two sentences. Next example, Germany invaded Poland in 1939. This was the immediate cause of the Second World War breaking out. Then I changed that into Germany's invasion of Poland. Invasion, that's a noun, 名词. In 1939 was the immediate cause of the outbreak of the Second World Order. Then suddenly the information is the focus, and then we combine the two sentences together, the information is more clear, it's more concise, the meaning is also more precise. Now let's look at the exercise. Typical Taipei people are the most susceptible to heart problems. On the right hand side, you can see are most at risk for coronary problems. And the other part, strongly motivated, we say intense desire. Motivated is an adjective, 形容词, but in the paraphrase, we use desire, 名词. And the original one are driven to, that's the past participial 过去分词, or we can say passive 被动式. And in the paraphrase, we say their drive, so we use now 用名词. And the last suggestion for using the different grammar is we use change from active voice to passive voice, or vice versa, means 主动式换成被动式. Like this example, to improve English, you should learn new vocabulary on a daily basis. Then we can say to improve English, new vocabulary should be learned. So you can see here, be learned, that's passive, 被动式. Now we can see the last suggestion I want to add as a conclusion. After we paraphrase, we have to show the correct citation. So if you follow the MLA format, you can look at the left-hand side. If you follow the APA format, you can look at the right-hand side. So let's use the APA format as example. Paraphrase with author in signal phrase means when we have to paraphrase some author, we have to tell about the author's name. 在 paraphrase 的时候，把作者的名字签进去。Then we can see example in childhood nostalgia, Soria described. So you can see describe 就是 signal phrase， 就是指作者说、陈述、主张什么立场。那这样子的动词叫做 signal phrase. But what about what we want to paraphrase without a signal phrase? If you do not want to use that verb, you can just look at the example. The Bumafu, the lemur is a furry, lovable, and kind PBS. So here you don't see any name of the author, but you can see in the in-text citation, 在内文的出处 you can see Soria 2014. 在内文 paraphrase 的最后面加上文章的出处. So these are all the different paraphrase skills I want to introduce.